added on the social media manager part of the title, but I've had a lot of opportunity to travel around the world to trade shows and conferences. At the bottom there, I'm holding the world's first digital camera. Was invented by a Kodak engineer in 1976. That was a pretty geek-tastic moment for me. So I usually put in a few numbers of where we are at in social media, and I've almost given up trying to keep this up to date because it changes so quickly. And I won't read through them, but the numbers are huge, basically. And some of them, like the average user on YouTube spends 15 to 25 minutes a day on the site. It boggles my mind. That's a lot of videos of cats playing the piano. But like they said this morning, it's the second search site on the internet. So there's no denying that there are huge numbers in social media. So obviously for a brand, that should come to your attention. I don't know how many of you need still convincing that your brand should be on social media. I'm surprised how often I do still have to make the case, especially with B2B brands. First off, it's an additional platform for your messaging. It's going where your customers are. I always say nobody gets up in the morning and says, I'm going to go see what's on Kodak.com. But they do get up and they log into their Facebook accounts, to their Twitter accounts. And if that's where your customers are, that's where you want to be to engage with them. It's timely. You can post and respond very quickly to current events. And there is a low barrier to entry and cost. Now, I say that with a caveat. It doesn't cost anything to start a Twitter account or a Facebook account, but it does take a lot of man-hours, and it takes a lot of work. And if you want to take it to that next level, it can require an investment. But it is something that I talk to a lot of businesses, whether they're small, mom-and-pop sized, or large corporations. So it is good to know that it is something that is within your reach. Again, why social media for brands? A few numbers there. 78% of consumers trust peer recommendations, while only 14% trust advertisements. Maybe not a huge surprise. If you're shopping for a new washer or dryer, you'd probably take the word of a friend or family member before what you might see in an advertisement. Consumers that engage socially with brands are 50% more likely to buy. Again, more numbers. Having been a graphic designer in my past, I love infographics. I'm not a numbers person, so anything that makes it easier to convey information like this, I love infographics. I won't pick through all these, but if you Google social media and infographics, you'll find some really good information out there. 58% of Facebook users have liked a brand. 64% of Twitter users say they're more likely to buy from the brands they follow. So, enough convincing, right? Kodak has a lot of social media accounts. We are more active in some than we are in others. But like as I've heard a few other folks say is, get out there, try the different accounts, get your username at least, because it can be a bear if somebody decides to go out and squat on your brand name on a social media account and you later decide that you want to try and get it from them. So these are a few of the accounts that we have. I love this infographic because it kind of shows why Kodak is out there on social media, not just for some of the other reasons that I outlined. Also, a lot of our products integrate with social media. Our kiosks at Target and CVS, you can log into Facebook. You can order prints from our Facebook app. But that giant pink square are the number of photos that are on Facebook. And then the tiny little square that had to be blown up in the circle are the number of photos on the Library of Congress. So if we want people to print pictures, it's kind of a no-brainer why we would want to interact with customers on Facebook. So I've talked a bit about different kinds of social media tools, Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram. But really, the things that I'm going to cover, and the good, the bad, and the ugly, they are guidelines and best practices that you could use with any tool. Tools can come and go. You might use this, you might use that, but these are principles that would really carry over to any of your interactions on social media. And this is really the foundation that you want to have if you're going to engage with customers. So, how to have a successful social media program. Have a plan, have the right people in place, add value and be timely, listen and respond, be transparent and honest. We'll deep dive into each of those. A lot of people think, well, it's Facebook. I can just go ahead and start an account for my company. But I would caution against that. You really want to have a plan before you start. What are your goals? I heard someone mention, growing their numbers was their goal. What is your purpose for interacting on social media? Who is that audience? And that may help you determine where you're going to be most active in social media, whether it is LinkedIn, if you're a B2B business, or Facebook, because of who you're trying to talk to. Who is your market audience? Who's going to do the work? I always hear that question, is your social media team under marketing? Is it under PR? You really want to think about who is going to be doing all of this work. And I've heard some people say, well, we have somebody that's doing it 50% of the time, or we have an entire team. And I kind of think that social media is like a goldfish. It can grow to the size of the tank that you put it in, whether you can only spare 50% of somebody's time or you can have an entire team. You can get by with a very, one person working on it, but if you have the manpower to put an entire team behind it, it can certainly take up all of your time. How will you monitor and respond? Like, how quickly will you get back to somebody if they ask you a question? If you're an airline, they're waiting in an airport, they're going to want an answer right away. Whereas if you're another kind of brand, they might be okay with waiting a few hours or even 24 hours. Different expectations. And how will social media integrate with your other programs? I think it's really important, no matter where you sit in a corporation, whether you're in marketing or you're in PR, that you're connecting with all those different groups. I haven't heard a lot of talk about CRM today, and that's something that we're really looking at this year, social CRM, connecting our email program with our social media program. So talking about who is going to be running your social media program. So I'm really starting here. You're at square one. Who's going to be doing this for you? And I say be very picky about who is representing your brand on social media. A lot of people say, well, let's have the intern do it. And I always say, if the Wall Street Journal called you up and asked you for an interview, would you feel comfortable sending your intern down to do the interview? Because that's essentially what you're doing when you have somebody out there talking to your customers on social media. I really think the best person for a social media program is somebody that has a deep knowledge, is very experienced in your brand, in your products, and is social media savvy, that gets the protocol and knows the tone when interacting with other people on social media. I would never force anyone to do it. I wouldn't point to somebody on the team and say, hey, I think you should run the program. And if they think they're one of those people that think, Twitter is just for people that take pictures of their cats, I wouldn't force them to do it, because that will come through in their interactions. I've spoken to a group of 17-year-olds and given them tips for if they were interested in a career in social media. And some of the skills that I think are really useful is everything from writing, analytics, design, research, economics, marketing, public relations, because you really do touch all these different areas in your day-to-day job. So I think providing value to your customer is really important. You cannot talk about yourself 24/7. You cannot be giving a hard sell, constantly pushing your product. You will, in social media, turn away your customers. So you want to provide them things that are going to make their lives easier, things that are going to be interesting to them. Think about what you like to look at on Facebook, what you catches your attention on Twitter. So these are a few examples of things that we just did recently. We had a BOGO coupon for greeting cards at our kiosk that we were promoting, but not every post was download the coupon, download coupon. We were also providing value and content for our customers. Interesting ideas for taking pictures for your Valentine's Day photo cards. The one on the right there is try integrating a QR code into your photo greeting card that links to a video message. These are things that your customers will find interesting, and hopefully they'll share it, they'll like it, and start to relate your brand to this positive content. So creating that content, whether it's videos or tips and tricks, projects, is a great way to pull in your customers. If you can't do that yourself, you have a very small team, or you don't have the expertise, follow people in your industry that do and share their content. Become a curator of that content. Down below is a post that we did around the time of prom, and we wanted to talk about how you could, a photo book would be a great way to share your pictures, your prom pictures, and what we did was Photo Jojo, which is a photography newsletter, did a post about it, and we promoted their post, like, hey, Photo Jojo says this is a great idea, and oh, look, we make photo books, so you can kind of make use of other people's content. So being timely on social media is really key, keeping up on those trending topics. What is top of mind? What is everybody talking about at that time that you can catch their attention? Like with the Super Bowl, with the Oscars. If that's what everybody on social media is talking about, how can you relate that back to your brand and become relevant with your customers? I keep a calendar. This is one of those just simple tips. I keep an Excel spreadsheet with dates that I put in things that are going on in our company, whether we're releasing a new product or we have a promotion or a coupon. And then I keep track of holidays, even silly things like Talk Like a Pirate Day or Pi Day, and try and relate those to how if this is something that our customers are going to be thinking about, how can we relate this back to our brand? And the examples that I have there was last May, we had the supermoon, and we were able to share some photo tips on how to take pictures of the moon with a regular point-and-shoot camera. Middle one is World Turtle Day. We featured pictures of turtles. And the other one there is when Facebook released the camera app. It had to do with photography, so that related back to us, and that was a Facebook post. So when you're really trying to capture the attention of your customers, if you can take those trending topics and then you can take your brand messaging and pull them together, that's when you're really going to create that content that your customers will value and care about. That's kind of like a magic moment for you. Listening to your customers cannot emphasize enough, even though, you know, we talk about posting things, I think listening to customers online is even more important. This is an old case study, but I just love sharing this. When we made pocket video cameras, that's about right when Twitter was coming around, and we were tracking what customers were saying about our first pocket video camera, and they loved it. But we were also seeing comments of people saying, I love this, but it doesn't pick up sound well in a crowded room. And just general feedback, how people were using our product. It's interesting, social media can become the world's largest focus group for you. So we took that feedback from customers, and when we put out our next pocket video camera, we integrated a microphone jack so that you can plug in a microphone to help filter out some of that noise when you're in a crowded room. Somebody said, you know, when I can't plug in the USB when I have other things in my laptop, so we put in a flexible USB arm. Compared to having focus groups or hiring a company to do this research for us, would we have gotten there faster, would it have been more expensive? I don't know, but we were getting this directly from our customers because we were listening to them on YouTube comments, tweets, Facebook posts. One of the funny things though, our cameras, they were named the ZI-6, the ZX-1, the ZI-8. People love the ZI-8, but they said, what's up with that name? And we thought, well, maybe we should come up with a better name, so we crowdsourced the next name of our following pocket video camera, and we asked people on social media, what do you think this product should be named? We made a contest of it, and we said that whoever's name we chose for that camera, we would fly them to CES to launch that product. And so we picked the name Play Sport. It was actually one guy suggested play and another suggested sport. We liked them together, so we had to fly both of them to Las Vegas. But still, it was a great experience, and that was a great example of crowdsourcing and making a product better by listening to your customers on social media. This is another example. We're always monitoring as best we can what people are saying about our brand on social media, and we noticed people starting to say that that Kodak was homophobic, that they should boycott us. So within minutes, we were able to dig into this and find out that people thought we were pulling ads from an episode of Degrassi Junior High that featured a gay character, and so they thought that we pulled that advertising from us. It wasn't true. It was just a normal break in our advertising calendar, and we were able to respond very quickly and tell people that it wasn't something that was done on purpose, that the commercials would be running again soon, and we got really positive response from customers and from people on Twitter that we were listening and that we got the story straight. So that's an example of how listening on social media about your brand can prevent a potentially disastrous situation. So when you're on social media, don't forget the social in social media. You need to be honest, open, and real. Obviously, don't post as someone you aren't. Don't pay other people to say nice things about your brand. You'll most likely always get found out, and it will not reflect well upon your brand. Another thing is always admit when you're wrong, and we've been wrong plenty of times. We had a photo contest once on Flickr, and we used our standard terms and conditions, which were very strict, saying that if you posted a picture that we own, we could use that picture for anything. Not realizing how many professional photographers were using Flickr and were very sensitive to that, and they quickly posted that we were out to steal their images, we were going to make money off their photographs, which wasn't what we were trying to do. We just wanted to have a contest, and some of the ones that we chose we wanted to use on a homepage of Kodak.com, which most people get very excited about having their picture featured. We weren't putting it on packaging or billboards. So we went back, we changed those terms and conditions, and we posted, we apologized, we explained, and we got very good feedback from all of the users that we were listening and that we were willing to fix that mistake. So the bad. What happens if you don't follow some of those good practices that I just outlined? Things go wrong. Some of the mistakes that we've seen recently is bad use of trending topics, using poor judgment or being careless, or deleting comments and posts. Now I have some examples here, but I have sort of blocked out the brands because I think they're all good examples of themselves. It doesn't lend anything for you to know who the brands are, and I feel so bad for some of them, and I hate to keep rehashing it. So you'll still get the gist in most of these. So what happened here is on Twitter, when a certain topic began to trend, these brands started tweeting using those hashtags. It's called hijacking hashtags. And unfortunately, one of those was Aurora, which was the Aurora shooting. This particular, I thought I blocked that off, the company, they decided that related to their dress. inappropriate because it was a tragedy and it was in no way related to something positive. On the right, there was a brand that just looked to see what words were trending on Twitter and started using them to promote their tweets. And that can be seen as being spammy. So you really want to investigate before you start using a hashtag on Twitter what that hashtag means, and make sure that the content of your tweets is relevant to that hashtag. Just again, like with the Aurora tweets, you do not want to take advantage of or make a joke about a tragedy. On the left, that was a tweet back when there was the riots in Egypt. Somebody tweeted that, oh, it must be over our new collection. And on the right, very recently when Sandy hit, there were a few brands that said, oh, well, you can still shop online. Maybe at the moment that seemed funny, but any natural disaster or sensitive news event is something you totally want to stay away from. Customers and everyone on social media really reacted very negatively to these tweets immediately after they went out. Using poor judgment, being careless. Somebody for a very large brand tweeted, by mistake, Obama's grandma even knew it was going to be bad. She died 3 days before he became president. That was clearly meant for a personal account. And anybody that has ever managed more than one Twitter account knows how easy it can be for a tweet to go out to the wrong. You have to switch between the two accounts. It could accidentally go out to the wrong account, which it did this time. Really inappropriate. They apologized immediately. Executive in the company came out, made apologies. They were interviewed on it. But you really have to, again, going back to selecting who is representing you on social media. It's a really awful thing to say as a brand, but it's really kind of an awful thing to say just as a person too. And really, is that the kind of person that you want representing your brand on social media? And on the right, this is an infamous one, an agency employee flying into a client's hometown, kind of rips on that town in a tweet. Client employee sees it, reports it to the executives. The company's very upset. They have a lot of hometown pride. Really, what a really bad situation. So I love this. Google before you tweet and think before you speak. You could delete a tweet quickly, but if anybody gets a screenshot of that, it's out there forever. Make sure you have your facts straight. Think about what will people think about that post. So you think, well, what would your parents think if they read that tweet? Is it inappropriate? Never use anything potentially hurtful to anyone to promote your brand online, and consider how the subject of your post might feel. And I think this is big. I haven't heard a lot of talk about this, but having a social media policy for your employees is right up there when I talked about having a plan when you start in social media. Everything from what does your brand look like on social media? What does, work with your branding guidelines, and what does that avatar look like? And how do you name your different Twitter accounts? But as employees, how should they conduct themselves, whether they are tweeting for your brand or personally? And I know I see a lot of people that they put on their Twitter handles, well, these are my own thoughts, not of the company that I work for, but I really feel like it's hard to disassociate yourself for the brand that you work for. Even when you put that disclaimer in there, I think if you're telling people that you work for that brand, even though it's your personal account, I think it does reflect on that brand. Another bad practice, deleting comments and posts on Facebook. There was a brand that came out that they had a questionable ingredient in their product, and so supporters of the environmental association started posting to the Facebook page, and so that brand started deleting the post. This is too negative. And then turned off the ability for anybody to post to the page. They later added a post and said, we want everybody to comment about this situation here. Boom, 400 comments. That's a situation of a brand mistakenly thinking that they can control the conversation. You really, once you enter social media, you do give up any control out there. Another example over here on the right, a brand posted this strange image on Facebook. Fans took offense to it, started commenting on it, brand starts deleting the comments. So more fans comment, and they start deleting, and then more fans, and then they couldn't even keep up with the number of comments that were being posted. The brand didn't apologize or acknowledge the issue, and they couldn't even keep up with it. So why should you not hit delete? And it's hard not to, because you want everything to be so positive and sunny on your social media accounts, but it won't hide the problem or make it go away. The other thing is, this is an opportunity for you to fix the problem. Somebody cares enough about your brand to come to you and talk to you about it. We used to have a saying that what's the worst thing somebody could say about you on social media, and that's nothing at all, that you're not even relevant, nobody even cares. At least these customers care enough to come to you, and they're giving you an opportunity to fix the problem. It's better that if they're unhappy with you, they come to somewhere where you can interact with them and potentially explain yourself, fix the problem, than if they just hate your product and tell everybody they know, friends and family, to boycott you. And that's again where listening is a chance for you to improve the product, improve your brand. Okay, so the ugly. Sometimes even when you do everything right, things can go wrong. What can go wrong? How should you handle it? There's people on a mission, spammers, unhappy customers, trolls, and just plain bad mistakes and bad timing. The more popular you become on social media, the more you will become a target, because people will see, well, here's lots of eyeballs. If I post here, I know I'll get attention. So that's very appealing to spammers. I literally, just before I came, went on our Facebook page and very quickly took screenshots of spam posts that were on our Facebook page. If there's a cause, like the environmental organization that had commented on the last brand's Facebook page, they know that this is a place where they can make their message heard. And if you have an unhappy customer, they know that you'll need to answer them on social media, because it looks bad if you just ignore them. And then there's the trolls that, you know, they're just out there. They know they have a large audience. They don't even really have a purpose. They might not care about your brand. They might hate your brand, but they're going to take that opportunity to go out there and just really make your life miserable. And you're not going to be able to reason with them either. So what can you do? The first is really resist that temptation to get defensive and to try and have that argument with them publicly. I mean, you don't want to ignore it. Make your case once, but don't continue to keep going back and forth with them. Try as much as you can, if somebody has a legitimate cause, to take it offline. Say, can I message you on Facebook? Can I DM you? Can we email you? Even call you? And have that conversation offline. For me, this is tough. Keep calm. Don't take it personally. If you're really passionate about the company that you work for, it's really hard when you see somebody that's upset or doesn't like the brand, but you do have to try and distance yourself. I've had to learn, especially with the past year, to learn to grow a thick skin. And sometimes you need to know when to walk away. There will be some people that you cannot make happy on social media. And this, just as you need to have a social media policy for your employees to help them understand how they should conduct themselves, is have a public policy that you put on your blog, in your Facebook notes, explaining how you will handle different comments. If there are things that you can delete and you should delete, whether it's spam, vulgar language, things that are inappropriate. So I like to have that on all of our accounts so that we can point to it at any circumstance if somebody is upset that we have had to delete a comment. Hashtag hijacking, so we've talked about that, if it's bad for you to do it, but it can happen to you too. Your own Twitter hashtag campaign could be hijacked or become a bash tag. Some companies have tried to get customers talking about their brand by starting a campaign, and people that aren't happy with the brand, aren't happy with the product, may take that as an opportunity to make their voice heard by using your hashtag in a negative way. And spammers, this has happened to us. We had a Father's Day Twitter chat going on talking about photography and dads, and it was trending, and so immediately spammers jumped on that hashtag. What can you do? Before you start a hashtag campaign, research what tweeters may already be using your hashtag for. Really nitpick that hashtag. What are some other ways that people may misinterpret it or be used as something negative? Avoid sensitive subjects, conversational topics. Don't use an open-ended question. Be very specific. Maybe ask a specific question. And be honest. If your brand is going through a tough time, has some challenges, you know there are situations out there, then a hashtag campaign probably is not for you at this point in time. Mistakes and bad timing. And this has happened to us. One situation in December, I was posting to Facebook, tweeting. We had our office Christmas party, and then I went to lunch. We were talking about the new Flickr app, and I just tweeted out from my phone, hey, what does everyone think of the new Flickr app? Didn't think anything of it. Didn't see any tweets going on that caught my attention, but when I got back to the office, somebody said, I think it's really insensitive of you to be tweeting in this way when there's a tragedy. Well, the Newtown shootings had happened that morning, and I hadn't realized it. I didn't understand it from the tweets that I saw. I was away from my computer. I didn't see the news. Some people even thought that I had pre-scheduled the tweets, which I hadn't. I do sometimes schedule tweets, like if I'm traveling, like now. But it was I just didn't know. But I went back and I said, I'm sorry, I didn't realize, I apologized. A lot of brands got bashed during that time because they were scheduling tweets and Facebook posts with marketing messages that just didn't seem appropriate for what was going on in the news at the time. A lot of criticism around that. Just a mistake, it's just bad timing. So what can you do? For all of these things, you really want to have a crisis plan. If something goes wrong, what do you do? Who do you contact? How can you get to the people in your company that can make a call, that can approve certain messaging, take certain measures to try and fix the problem? If you know you're going to be posting about a controversial topic, like filing for bankruptcy, make sure you have a plan for that before it happens so that you know what to say and you know what you're allowed to say on social media. So yeah, understanding what you can and cannot say on behalf of the brand. Maintain close contact with all those different groups in your corporation, your PR, communications, and your service and support departments. Having that employee social media policy and that public social media policy posted everywhere. Try and avoid that pre-scheduling if you know you're not going to have internet access or there isn't going to be a backup person that can go in and respond to questions or stop those posts if they're inappropriate. Especially if you have a small social media team, I know scheduling is a real lifesaver, but really think about how you use that feature. And monitor the news if you do have those out there. And with all this, if you make a mistake, apologize and try to fix it. Another popular saying around our office is, did anybody die? Mistakes will happen, but you do have an opportunity to fix it, and it may be the talk of the internet for a while, but nobody died, so it's going to be okay. So I hate to leave this on the bad and the ugly, so I had to throw in a fourth one. It's the cute. There's just a few examples of how we use social media. This is when we were a very early blog post. It's like 6 years ago when we had our digital cameras. I did a blog post that I put our digital camera on my dog, and I had him put the auto timer and had him walk around, take pictures. It didn't talk about resolution or zoom or anything like that. It was just cute. It was fun content that our customers, I have to wonder how many dogs out there were wearing cameras the next day. But it's a way of, we were creating content, and sure enough, the next day it was getting picked up by other blogs, it was in newsletters, and then pretty soon it was all around the world from just this one fun blog post that people could relate to. They love dogs, love photography. It was just a great case study of how we were interacting with customers on social media. And, you know, talking about who represents you on social media, I think one of the things is that I work so well with the brand, because I think even if I did accidentally tweet something to the Kodak tweet Twitter account other than mine, you probably wouldn't notice, because I talk about cupcakes and puppies either way. So, oops. Oh, and when we started making our pocket video cameras, I did the blog post again. I wouldn't recommend this though. Pugs are too low and bouncy, so the video was nauseating. And cats are too lazy. The video was really boring. It was just the back of his head. So today, I work a lot with our Kodak picture kiosk, and again, my pets, it's true. Cats, people love them on social media. I can't deny it, and so I make the most of it, and I use them in all of our, pictures of our greeting cards and our calendars and photo books, and I'm not ashamed of it. I'll put them out there on our Facebook page all the time. This was something fun we did last year for April Fools. We've been doing an April Fool's prank for a few years now, and I need to start thinking about this year, but last year was one of our best yet. We told people that we were going to start printing live kittens at the Kodak picture kiosk. You could select a breed, and you can still, even though down there's one of our printing presses, we were going to come out with large format printing. So really, again, keeping the social and social media, having fun with it, connecting with your customers. So these were just a few things that we covered. Thank you.